Cargo delivery to the water tower in Zherbai Quarries. Hello there everybody and welcome back to another exciting episode of SnowRunner here at Opafet Gaming. I am the Opafet. Today we are driving our FEMM 37AT and we're doing a task called How Dry Am I? Where we are going to attempt to deliver 2 metal rolls and 1 load of small pipes to the water tower here in Zherbai Quarries, which is the only map in the Almaty Region. Now, I've had the FEMM 37AT for a little while, but as you can tell, it's a little bit different than most trucks. It's got an articulated head for steering, meaning that the whole head of the cab of the truck turns back and forth. And as you can tell, the Opafet's not too great at driving it. I love this truck. I think it's awesome. But I have a hard time steering it, and with the joystick it just kind of jerks back and forth. So I apologize for that and hope you'll bear with me as I'm trying to get a little bit better, because I do like the truck. You know, one of the reasons I like it is because it's got a 4-slot cargo bed. Now most trucks have 2 slots. There is, I think, only one. I'm not sure about this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think only one that has a 3-slot, which is the Kenworth 963. But this one's got a 4, so I can pick up both metal rolls and the small pipes with this. So I thought I'd bring it out and paint it up, give it a paint job of the whole rest of the fleet, of all the trucks in the fleet, and give it a go. So when we left the garage, we got to head south a little ways, and we get to the town. Well, it looks like an abandoned town, as we got to negotiate a couple of little detours like this. Not really too much of a problem, but just something to consider. We're going to come to that deserted little town, and then we're going to hang a left and head up the road, and the warehouse is just a short ways up the road on the right hand side. Then once we're loaded up, we got to turn around, come all the way back and go to the top of the map to where the water tower is. But that's a little ways away yet. Now as we're coming around the corner here, there's a gas station on the left hand side, and my motto always is don't pass up a fuel station if you can help it. But we're going to be coming right back by here again in a few minutes. So we will pass it for now, and we will fuel up when we come back. Now we got to turn a left here, and like I said, it's just a little ways down the road on the right hand side. Now this truck, you got to be careful when you're taking turns with it. You got to try and keep it as level as possible, which is another thing that I didn't like about it, is if you're on a road that's slightly tilted from left down towards the right hand side, and you're taking a left hand turn and you turn too tight, the weight of the trailer, and if you got cargo in the back, will tip your trailer over to the right, to the low end of the turn. So you got to be careful with that. You can't pull too tight a turn on it. Now when I first outfitted this truck in the garage, I had a flat cap exhaust on it, and I took it out for a test drive, and it blew the smoke straight up above the cab. You couldn't even see the cab. As you can tell, it's throwing up some really mighty good pollution out there. But at least I put a slanted wedge in the cap, and now it blows it to the side, so you can at least see where you're driving. I can see where the head of the truck is steering. So, but I tell you, this has probably got to be the one that causes the most pollution so far that I have seen. Now the one thing about an articulated head steering is you can take really nice tight turns like this. And the Kenworth has a little bit of trouble, and he's only a 3-slot cargo bed, and it's pretty tight for him to get through here. You can do it, but with the FEMM, it's no trouble at all. You just crank the head a little bit tighter and around you go. So that's one thing that is nice about it, but like I said, you gotta watch that you don't tip your trailer depending upon what kind of terrain you're driving on. So as we're coming around here, we got to load up our cargo. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, one load of small pipes and 2 metal rolls. And away we go again. Now we're on our way. Now, you can certainly tell when you're driving this truck when it's empty and when it's got a load on. It does drive a little bit different in the game. So it sits a little more solid on the road, but you can also feel the pressure of the trailer when you're turning the head too tight. So keep that in mind. And you got to be really careful any kind of tiny little detours that you got to make, you know, on the side of the road, like if somebody is working on the road or the road's washed out and you got to go around it through the mud and the swampy area. You got to be careful of that because that's where you're going to have your trouble. On a regular straight path like this, there's not much trouble at all. He's a very powerful truck and he's very capable of doing the job that he's got to do. And most of the time, as you know, it's the operator. In my case, anyhow. Probably not in yours, but it will be in mine. Because I'm not the best at driving this truck, but there again, how are you going to get any better if you don't take it out and practice once in a while? And the best way to practice is on a little bit of an easier job like we got today, where we're just basically driving up the highway, well, highway if you can call it that, the main road artery that goes from one side of the map to the other. Once you get the bad spots fixed and you get the little detours figured out, this is the best way to move cargo from one end of the map to the other. So it's a great map to give some practice to vehicles that you don't usually try or don't really like because they're not powerful enough. Give them a shot on this map, you know. It might be a little bit easy, you might find some other enjoyment. I got stuck on a few vehicles there for a while, and now I'm trying to introduce a few more. And it's a lot of fun driving different ones. And you know that if you come up against a task that's really tough, then you take the stronger or better trucks that you like. Now we're coming up to the gas station, like I said. Never pass at the gas station if you can help it. And we're just gonna fuel up and maybe even change the time of day because it looks like it's getting a little bit dusky, getting a little bit harder to see. And as you all know, the Opafet likes to drive during the day so you can see the game because it's such a beautiful game. I always feel like when it gets dark, like I'm wasting my time driving in the dark because I miss the beauty of the game. So we put it back to daytime. And if you don't care, if you like the different cycles, nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely fine to play it that way. Everybody should play it the way that they like the best. That's the only way to play it. So we're back on the road, and we're going to be coming up to that little detour again where those guys are working on the road. Although there's no people around, there's just a backhoe sitting there waiting for an operator. You know, I don't think that hole is going to get fixed while we're in the Almaty region. I'm starting to believe that because I've been through here a few times and it hasn't advanced at all. You know, I'm only kidding. We're going to go through this little bypass, but like I said, take it slow. And that's got to be your motto in this game. Take it slow. Because most of the problems that occur are, in my game anyhow, most of my problems are when I go too fast. So if I take my time and go a little bit slower, I seem to do a little bit better, and when there is a problem, usually I can catch it in time and stop it before it becomes a huge problem. Not always though. I've taken my truck and driven it through somewhere, taken a turn too tight, ran over a rock with the front left tire, and I flipped the truck to the right. So even when you go slow sometimes, you can still get into trouble. Now, we're just going to be coming up ahead here to the garage. We're going to bypass the garage and head further north. Now, as you can tell, I'm still having some trouble steering this truck. Ooh, a little bit overcompensated there. And it's very frustrating when you don't get the vehicle to go exactly where you want it to go. But I find that's mostly with the articulated heads. Now, the Cat 745C doesn't do that to me, but the FEMM does. So, well, we're going to have to just put up with it and try to get better, try to get a little bit smoother as we go along. That's the plan. Now Now as we're coming around the corner here, we're going to be heading down the hill, and there's another little detour just before that, just before the facility up ahead. I'm not quite sure exactly what that place is, but I'm sure as the game progresses we will find out, as they'll probably have you going in and out of there too at one point or another. Right up ahead there, there must be something to do with the ore coming out of the quarries, because there's another huge quarry on the right hand side. I believe that there's three big quarries on this map, so, and them too, we're going to be going up and down those quarries quite a bit. Now when I go through a little detour like this, I like to turn put the gear into the high ratio of the low range, so just so you can't go so fast, so you can take your time, get a little bit of a higher view of them. And as you're going through, the last thing you want to do is go too close to the left hand side. If you look at that rock on the left up ahead there, that's the one that I ran into and I flipped my truck. And you can understand why it would flip it, because it would just, once you hit that rock, you're going to lean all the way to the right hand side and your truck won't stay upright. But we missed it, and we're going to climb straight up back onto the road as we are going to drive underneath the, I don't know what you call that, piping or ducting or whatever. We fixed that in an earlier task where we had to bring cargo to it, because we couldn't get through this way. Now it's an unobstructed road and we can go all the way from the bottom to the top unimpeded, with the exception of the few little detours that we got to put up with, but that's not a big deal. Now we're getting close to the water tower. As you can see, the little directional, the down direction arrow in the yellow diamond appeared on the screen, and as you know, once that's on the screen, you know you're getting close. We got one more little detour here, and I've driven through this one here before and almost flipped it to the left. It always comes back to flipping the truck, I suppose. So this time I'm going to take it a little bit straighter on, trying to keep the truck a little bit more on the level side. And I think I came in at a little bit of an angle last time when I came through here, and this time it works pretty good. We got it back in the high range of the low gear, so you can't over rev. You can only go a certain speed, and we're going to go through this until we climb out the other side. And once we climb out, we'll shift back up to automatic, and we'll just continue on our journey. Up this tiny little hill. There we go. And we're almost there. You can, as soon as we get around the corner, I believe you can see the water tower there in the distance, that red tube. That's our water tower where we got to go to. Wow, I'll tell you, absolutely awesome. This is a great task that you can do to practice any vehicle and to get better at driving the bad terrain. I mean, it really it gives you some practice with different vehicles if that's what you want to do. I like to be able to drive all the different vehicles that I enjoy driving, but you want to be able to drive them without any incidents. And you know, you got to get good at it before you can do that. When you're not good at driving some of the trucks, you got to get a little bit of practice in. Now this here again too, it's a little bit of a haul going up this here little hill, but if you take it slow, and if you feel like that with the articulated head you're tilting a little bit too far one way or the other, just stop and back it up and take a different approach. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking it a little bit slower and taking a little bit more time to make your delivery successful, as we're going to do here in a few minutes. We're almost there. Absolutely awesome little trip. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some ideas, and if you were just here for the fun of it, well, that's okay too, because that's why I'm playing it, just for the fun of it. Hope to see you back at OpenFed Gaming again real soon. Until then, you've been driving in a FEMM 37AT, delivering some cargo to the water tower with me, the OpenFed.